Hi friends, and welcome to the April 29th edition of the Astro Energy Astrology Show with me, Shelley Overton. I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I want to welcome you. Hopefully you've had a good week. We're going to be talking about what's going on with the planets this week, and it's a lot. So there's going to be a lot to discuss, but I'm going to try and keep it under 30 minutes. So we'll just kind of head right into it. Today is the 29th, which means it is a Saturday, and we've got a moon in Leo until 8:20 a.m. and actually until 2:59 p.m. Then the moon enters Virgo. So I'm going to really synopsize the week because I want to talk more about the big events, which will be the lunar eclipse and Pluto retrograde. So Saturday, moon is in Virgo, and moon in Virgo means we're more focused on service, work, medicine, health, being more meticulous about things, teacher energy, education, focused on taking tests, that kind of thing. That lasts until Monday afternoon. And we're going to get the Pluto retrograde before the moon goes into Libra. Moon stays in Virgo on Sunday with an opposition to Saturn in Pisces, and that happens early in the morning in the Eastern time zone, 1:41 a.m., which is 10:41 p.m. Pacific on Saturday night. For those of you wondering, I still am a little bit sick. I've got this respiratory thing that's kind of sticking around, and I've got a doctor's appointment lined up for later in the month, so I will be trying to get rid of it with herbs and talking to her about it when I go see her, in case you were worried. Monday is going to be the Pluto retrograde, which I will talk about in a minute. But we've got Virgo hitting in conjunct to quincunx to Chiron, a trine to Uranus and Taurus, a sextile to Mars and Cancer, which is a good one at 5:08 a.m. Eastern, 5:08 a.m. Eastern, 2:08 a.m. Pacific. And so early in the morning on Monday, we're going to have some really positive energy around understanding, awareness, ideas are popping, and connection to home and security. Everything is moving forward. We've got work, we've got a drive, all coordinated. Then at 1:09 p.m. Eastern, 10:09 a.m. Pacific, Pluto goes retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And, for the rest of the day, there's a square to Venus and Gemini. So communications and women are going to be at odds, definitely because moon is in Virgo and moon energy is mom. Venus in Gemini is also women, but it's duality and duplicity. Taurus, Sun and Mercury in Taurus join up at 7:28 p.m. And there's an aspect that's not so fun to Jupiter in Aries at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and an opposition to Neptune in Pisces of the moon. And then it goes void, of course, at 7:53 p.m. Eastern, 4:53 p.m. Pacific. The moon enters Libra not long after that at 11:09 p.m. Pacific, 2:09 a.m. on Tuesday morning Eastern. And so then the moon is in Libra, hitting all kind of usual planets that are out there. They're all getting hit by the moon every day. There are 3 quincunxes on Tuesday afternoon, one to Saturn in Pisces, one to Mercury in Taurus, and one to the Sun in Taurus. So it is going to be a little bit disconnected energy between the moon in an air sign in marriage and partnership to taking ownership of sentimentality, emotions, awareness, psychic tuning in. Mercury in Taurus and Sun in Taurus are money and love. So there is going to be kind of an energy of being at odds with women, at odds with money on some level. The moon is not really cooperative unless you are in a partnership or looking to be in a partnership. And then the quincunx to Saturn in Pisces is going to show us where we are kind of living in a daydream in our career. Saturn retrograde is coming up, but it is still direct, and that means that we are meant to own the energy of career and the idealized view of it. Okay, Wednesday the 3rd, happy birthday to my friend Camilla. And we've got, again, oppositions to Chiron, quincunx to the sun, Uranus quincunx, and then Moon and Mars square each other. So there will be kind of a standoff energy between what is secure and familiar with Mars in Cancer and what is maybe a possible betterment of the energy with a partner. So we have to really look at that. The moon is still in Libra to Thursday morning, and then opposes the Jupiter in Aries. There's an opposition to Jupiter in Aries at 5:17 a.m. on Thursday. And so Moon in Libra is wanting us, again, like I said, trying to shore up relationships and partnerships and marriage. And then Jupiter in Aries is very independent, doesn't want to get on board with having someone slow them down. So the moon wants security through partnership, and Jupiter wants to transform, shift, and change through selling something, through being independent, through action and activity that is wholly individual based. And then we've got the moon entering Scorpio at 10:32 a.m. on Thursday, squaring Pluto in Aquarius at 11:12 a.m. Eastern and 8:12 a.m. Pacific. Moon in Scorpio squares Pluto in Aquarius at 11:12 a.m. So that's going to bring kind of a conflict between deeper visceral emotional content and a detachment from Pluto. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. So it's really kind of going to kind of kick off this T-square that's going on between Pluto and the Taurus planets and the moon in Scorpio. So moon in Scorpio squares Pluto, and then Venus in Gemini squares Neptune in Pisces, and that happens at 1:40 p.m. So Venus squaring Neptune is kind of difficult because Venus is in Gemini. She is very intellectual, very analytical, not necessarily reliable or grounded. She's really flitting around from thing to thing. She shows us multiple ways of making money, multiple options in love, and that may mean more than one woman that we're juggling. And so squaring the energy of Neptune, Neptune is the idealist and wants us to understand a higher spiritual connection. And so if you are dealing with duality with love or money, the one that you have a deeper emotional connection to is the one spirit is trying to push you towards. So be aware of that. The vision is always going to win out with Neptune in late Pisces. Okay, we've got Moon in Scorpio trying to Saturn in Pisces. Moon in Scorpio is kind of a war energy, but it is also commitment energy. And trine can be positive and negative, and I'll tell you why. Positive energy is it is in a similar element, so they're both in water. Saturn's in Pisces, which is water, but trine can bring up unexpected emotional distress. And so Saturn is owning a situation, owning your deeper emotional, visceral awareness of something that is connection to spirit and higher power. And Moon in Scorpio kind of goes down to the depths of emotion. So this is when we feel defeated, we can feel depressed, we can feel frustrated. Scorpio energy is very rooted energy. It makes us want to not give in. It is a fixed sign. So Pisces being mutable is flexible, but Saturn is very strong and strict. So Moon trine Saturn is going to really wake us up to some kind of structure that we need to really pay attention to. And it's an emotional energy. It can be the loss of someone. Moon in Scorpio is death and rebirth in the house it rules. And so that may be a difficult time for people. 8:53 p.m. Eastern and 5:53 p.m. Pacific. And then Venus and Gemini sextiles Aries, Jupiter in the evening overnight. And so Venus and Jupiter are about travel, about fun, about sociability, social networking, social media. And Venus in Gemini rules women who write, women who teach, and women who talk. So anyone in journalism, anyone in broadcasting, anyone on influencer networks. Yeah. And then Friday, we have Venus and Gemini overnight, like I said, in the Pacific time or Eastern, excuse me, time zone. First thing in the morning, 12:03 a.m. is when Venus sextiles Jupiter. So it could be an energy around transformation or transition. And then right after at 3:15 a.m., Moon in Scorpio opposes Mercury in Taurus, which can mean an opposition to physical energy in the body. Scorpio is death and rebirth. Mercury is the unexpected, and Taurus can rule the body. So there could be some event happening overnight, Friday, from Thursday to Friday. And then the moon opposed sun, which is the lunar eclipse, is at 1:34 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern, 10:34 a.m. Pacific. And I'm going to add 5 hours for England, which is 6:34 p.m. England. If I'm off on my hours, I apologize, but I think we're all on the savings timeline, which is 5 hours. Okay, so lunar eclipse. I'm going to end it with the Friday because I will be doing, well, let's just give you a real quick Saturday because I always record on Saturday, which means you don't always get the early morning hours. So Saturday the 6th, moon is still in Scorpio, trying to Mars in Cancer overnight because it happens at 12:51 p.m. Pacific, 1:51 a.m. Eastern, and moon trine Mars. It's going to be an action, a deep emotional action around home and family. It's visceral, it's emotional, it's commitment based, which can be, it relates to parents and their marriage. It relates to commitment in your marriage. And it's Mars and Cancer, which is home and family, and women, mothers. So there is either cooperative energy or something that really triggers us emotionally happening overnight. And then Moon in Scorpio trines Neptune in Pisces. And then we have two quincunxes between Jupiter and Aries and Venus and Gemini, late morning into the afternoon at 3 p.m. or 2:28 p.m. on Eastern time zone. For Scorpio, there is a void of course moon at 10:38 a.m. on Saturday. And so don't really expect to get much done in the morning until the moon goes into the new sign, which is 4:04 p.m. into Sagittarius. So if you're doing anything with travel, transportation, early morning hours, 10:38 until 4 are going to be difficult. Maybe things won't go the way you expect them to, or might get canceled. And then moon in Sag sextiles Pluto in Aquarius at 4:41 p.m. This is a freedom-loving energy. It's about getting out, doing something fun, and being active. Okay, so we're going to start with Monday because Monday the 1st is the Pluto retrograde. Pluto retrograde is going to talk to us about the deeper life energies, the deep emotional connections and bonds, wanting to commit, wanting to feel that you're valued enough to commit, wanting to explore the afterlife, wanting to understand what it means when death comes knocking. And that sounds really morbid, but Scorpio / Pluto rule death, but it also rules rebirth because every death is a new beginning in a different format or energy. And so Pluto retrograding in Aquarius can mean unexpected transitions and passings. It can mean we are now on our path with Pluto direct in Aquarius to major life change and expansion, disconnection from deeper emotional things. Pluto connects us to the deep emotional thing. And so Scorpio friends are going to be experiencing this energy as a square. And so as Pluto goes through all of the degrees of Aquarius, our Scorpio planets will be hit. If you have early Scorpio planets, you're going to feel this much more. That means people born in the 3rd week of October are going to have a square and a shift of energy. It's kind of like a boomerang energy where you had been heading is now going to be heading back towards Capricorn, which is actually a lot more amenable to those who are Scorpios. And then the Taurus people are experiencing a square as well, and then an opposition to the moon, but we'll get to that in a minute. Pluto going retrograde gives us a deeper awareness of our value, but it's also, I wrote this down earlier, it's like an energy of I don't recognize authority, and the breakdown of the hierarchy and hierarchical structures can happen as society changes, because Pluto affects a large group of society because it rules about 15 to 20 years of any given generation. So when you have Pluto going through a generation, that means that when it changes signs, it really hits each generation differently. And the generation that may have more difficult time with this transition is the sign that is exactly opposite, which honestly, I don't know if there are any or very many people born around the time of Pluto in Leo, but Pluto in Leo at late degrees are the people born in the 40s and the 30s. So it's going to be people in early degrees Leo are probably the beginning of the 30s, and there aren't very many of those around anymore. But definitely early Leos are going to feel this hit real strongly, which is around the 20th of July through maybe the 28th of July. And then early Taurians, which are those born around this time with the sun, around the 19th, 18th, 19th, 20th of April. For that week, you're going to feel this directly because it's a direct square to your sun. If you have early degrees, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius rising, definitely going to feel this Pluto retrograde. You may already have felt it, and it's affecting your view of commitment, your view of value, how you value others, how you see your value in another's eyes. And it's about joining up more than one person for a group or a coupling in the house of commitment. Pluto really has a very strong energy of life change. And because it is the ruler of Scorpio, which later in the week is the energy that is eclipsing with the moon, we're definitely going to have a very Plutonic week. This is a week where we see major life change. Issues will come about, especially with a lot of the inconjuncts going on in the water signs. We're going to feel that we're kind of being attacked, that what we know, especially for earth signs, what we know as structurally sound may be shifting, and it isn't what we thought it was. There may be some aha moments. It does relate a lot to individual energy, individual expression, with the Gemini Venus and Mercury turning retrograde are already retrograde. So we have a very long week of energy around emotion, around transition, transformation, awareness. Um, we've got this giant grand cross in the sky between Pallas Athena at 1 degree Leo, Black Moon Lilith at 26 degree Cancer, retrograde, opposite Pluto. And then squaring all that is the North and South Node at 4 degrees Taurus and Scorpio, respectively, Jupiter at 27 degrees of Aries. And then later in the week, the moon moon will be in it in Scorpio as of Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the moon will be answering to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And of course, Thursday is going to be a direct square between the moon and a day before the eclipse, which means there's also some late degree or mid degree energy of the sun and the moon that will be getting awakened. So, sun and moon is men and women, it is mothers and fathers, it is emotional connectivity between partners. Moon tends to represent feminine, receptive energy, and sun is masculine, assertive, aggressive energy. And because they are going to be opposite, there could be some kind of battle or standoff going on, with Pluto being the fulcrum, the top center between the scales, but also the tiebreaker. And Pluto will have a say about what's going on. But being that he was going direct, he was trying to awaken us to the strong energy of the new, the incoming, and the unusual. As he retrogrades now, he is going back over and trying to understand what it means to be in this new energy. But he's also looking back towards the past, which means we will be finding others. We will be finding others part of the storyline and how we get our freedom, how we make our commitments, where people value us, what we value, and if we are interested in moving forward, if we need to adjust to move forward, and also looking back towards old structures, which as we move through the summer, we're going to see governmental authorities and governments shifting and changing. There is the coronation of a new king in England. We are looking towards who's in charge in many governments in the world, and will they survive this summer? And honestly, Pluto is major generational shift and change, and that means that our attitudes as generations are shifting, and we have to really evaluate where our values lie. And Pluto back in Capricorn for the second half of the year will show us what those values are in no uncertain terms. It'll show us how people behave and whether or not that's okay with us to continue those relationships. Being the sign of commitment, it means that there are commitments shifting and changing with Pluto shifting itself. And Aquarius means that the clarity has been there. And now Pluto retrograde may mean we're going back to evaluate where we've been and adjust accordingly. And so with Mercury retrograde in Taurus, there is a square energy. Mercury right now is mid-range. Not even, Mercury is 8 degrees, so it's still in early Taurus and still within a direct square to Pluto. So we're going to find that our mental outlook may take a hit. We may find that our finances are struggling a little bit, or we need to adjust how we approach our finances for the time being. Mercury is duality, and Uranus, or Mercury is duality. Uranus in Taurus is also asking us to look at alternatives and multiple ways of income and making money, and also multiple love storylines. And then Pluto commitment in Aquarius is also presenting multiple storylines around value, commitment, and relationships. So, and it's joint finances. So money and love are going to be adjusting this week to a great extent. Jupiter at N degrees of Aries is going to be going into Taurus in the next couple weeks. And so he is going to awaken us to an expansion around love and money in a new way. And he is also helping us transform and transition. The lunar eclipse. So the lunar eclipse is in Scorpio at 14 degrees. I know some people with Chiron very close to that degree, and they're born right around 97 and 98, 1997, 98. So if you're born in that era, you're going to have a Chiron lunar eclipse, which means there could be a wounding associated with a relationship and commitments. So, it's relationship, commitment, and the hidden, the mystery may be coming out, an aha moment about the true nature of that relationship. And then we've got the solar eclipse affecting Scorpio, which, it's going to be about deep gut-wrenching situations. And the moon is wanting to dig in, be fixed, and really commit and do something following the heart. Taurus is more practical. And so the sun in Taurus wants the practical to win out, which is money and materiality. So it could be a standoff between heart and the material, quite honestly. Is the financial going to win, or is the emotional going to win? And Pluto represents both, because Pluto itself is the emotional, the deep visceral emotion, and Aquarius is the mental and intellectual analysis of it all. So it should be interesting to see with that cross going on in the sky. And that's pretty much what's going on. And a lot of emotional energy to digest this week. And so I just want you to take care of yourself. Do some self-care meditation. You can do a ritual with the moon. It's a full moon, and that means releasing situations that no longer serve you, that are toxic. Scorpio can bring out the toxicity. It is water energy, and it can rule things. Well, there are a number of energies that can point out poison. Chemicals are under Uranus, and Neptune/Pisces can rule poison. And definitely for me, Scorpio can use poison as a weapon. So be on the lookout for that. I would say 18-degree Uranus, definitely Russia seems to have perfected poison as a means of getting back at enemies. and an opposition of the moon in Scorpio. Definitely there could be some stories around poison, lava, anything hot, liquid, magma, underground water, unexpected water issues. Yeah, so it's going to be a really interesting week with the energies with Mars and Mars in Cancer, Moon in Scorpio, a lot of Earth energy manifesting things in the material world, and Saturn, which is the materiality and structure in Pisces. So, emotional, visceral, and watery. Anyway, that's the story for the week. Thank you for showing up. And I do hope you are healthy and happy. Please do like, comment, share, and subscribe below. And we'll see you next week. Take care.
Baby, I like it raw. I like it raw. I like it raw. I like it raw. Shimmy, shimmy out, shimmy in, shimmy yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Up on a natural charge, boom barrage. Yeah, from the home of the Dodger Brooklyn squad. 10 killer bees on the swarm. Rain on your dollar ass disco dome. You didn't even touch my skill. Gotta have one killer bee and he ain't gonna kill him. Shut that down, pass it all around. Lyrics get out of quick cement to the ground. NENC and then your 52 states. I get psycho killer. Norman Bates, I produce a slam. I was like, bam, jump on stage.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.